Like you hear this saying a lot. Like women keep saying they're not happy, they're unhappy. You
Yeah.
know, like you might be the exception, right? But uh, the majority always complain about happiness, 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 and I agree with him. At one time, this is a situation where it happened in Chicago, right? A friend of mine was getting married, and he was complaining on his wedding day
Okay.
that he bought this ring, he bought this, that, and the third, and you could clearly see that the guy was forced, you know. And at times, men, there are things that like they don't like, or maybe they don't want to do, but it's like they're forced to, right? This guy went like I don't know what he did, but an arm and a length just to make sure that he ends up fulfilling whatever that this girl like wanted. And to me, when you're in a relationship with somebody, she's supposed to know your strength,
Yeah.
and there are
In
certain
your
things
pocket.
that
She
yeah,
have to know your pocket too.
and there are certain things you're not supposed to get carried away. Like for me, I'm kind of like I'm 60%, say 60-70% of like back in the day, and probably 30-40 today's generation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude was complaining about how much he spent on the ring and the reception and everything. And to me, it's more of like when you really really love somebody, you're supposed to consider how the person feels too. But I think just like how you made a reference about Valentine's Day, I think it's designed to just take money from people
Yeah.
because it doesn't even make sense. This is something that happened back in the day, and I don't know if you know the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
so why are we celebrating somebody?
doing it.
Yeah, somebody who was doing that for like married couples, right? And here's
Especially
the
like dead
case:
already.
people in the relationship carried it like World Cup. They are the ones doing it more compared to even the married folks, and it's like one sided. So it's just sad, and that it also takes me to what I asked you earlier: is a woman will only like love a man to a certain extent based on how he makes her feel
But
and what she wants. Me, 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 me.
yeah, but okay, yes, I'm not gonna deny the fact that there are females that are conditional in their love. That I 100% agree with you. But also at the same time, can we all agree a relationship is a transaction? Whether you love the person or not, it's a transaction. I want something in this relationship, and you want something from this relationship. Now, whatever we're doing or whatever we agree with, that is up for debate because to each their own. But let's say a man, okay, that wants a pretty girl that is basically, his trophy wife and everything. And this girl, she wants to be with a man that got money and everything. I mean, come on. I mean, it's a transaction on both ends. I'm not saying I agree with it, but it's a transaction. So for me, naturally, entering into a relationship, I am not in a denial or in this delusion where, okay, I'm not gonna look at the guy's pocket. I'm not gonna go out of my way to make this guy bankrupt and saying that I want this or I want that. However, as time goes on for myself, and also at the same time to the ladies out there that set standards for themselves, set standards for yourselves.
First.
Set it.
Yeah.
Set standards for yourself. Men too as well, set standards for yourself. Do not forget yourself in the process. Do not compromise what you want in the relationship. So a man, if you want a female that is pretty and that has a certain look, that has a job and everything, ain't nothing wrong with that. Go get that. The female, you want a guy that got money, by all means, I'm pushing you for that. However, be realistic in how you set the standard for yourself. Set the standard not only for the person, but for yourself. So for me, for instance, yeah, I like nice things. Like as much as I'm simple and I'm good at home wearing my sweatpants, and I'm not gonna ask you. On the contrary, I don't need you to be buying me roses every single time
Louis Vuitton.
or jewelry or
The
Louis
new
Vuitton
bag.
or a new bag or whatever. But I like nice things. Like we were discussing before. Yeah, I'm bougie to myself. Before a man came into this house, into my life or to whatever, I am bougie to myself. Why? Because my parents set that standard for myself.
In this
So
society, social media, Instagram, and twerking and Snapchat made things so difficult for a relationship. You know, being in a relationship with someone was supposed to be so easy and fun. Yes, there's roller coaster. That's normal. A relationship without a roller coaster is not normal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when someone sees, like in my case, when someone sees a woman that he actually like, I'm gonna give you a story. Okay, when I used to live in Montreal, here, this girl that I met in a club once. I didn't know that, she have a car, she doesn't have a car, she take the bus, she doesn't take the bus. You know what I mean? And the next day I text the girl, I'm like, hey, let's go out for a drink. Let's go eat. Let's just go have fun, The first question this girl asked me was, what car do you drive?
I think this happened in New York one time too.
Man, I think all men went through this. What car do you drive? I'm like, excuse me? I have a car. Which car do you drive?
Yeah.
BMW, bus, metro, walk. You know what I mean? This girl that didn't even have a car. She take the bus and she was asking me which type of car I drive. This is just a turn off. I'm going to go back what she said. It's the standards. Sometimes you have to lower your standards. If you cannot take care of yourself, don't put in your mind, in the society that we actually live in, that a guy will come and take care of you. Take care of yourself first, all right? And if the guy comes, it's going to be a plus. Vice versa.
Are you going to say it's men's fault for like how women are moving like this? Like how women, like, we have the normal tradition when you meet a woman, you take her on a date, blah, 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 first, second date and all of that. So it's like there's a certain pressure, right? Just like sex, there's a certain pressure on men to perform, to like go over and beyond. Women don't know that, but there's a certain pressure.
He's a 5-minute nigga.
Yeah, bro. Like it's the pressure that
2
like
minutes, man.
a man could just sometimes they get embarrassed. That's pressure. It's not easy. Y'all think it's easy, but it's not. So there's a certain pressure on men to like go over and beyond. So same as meeting a pretty woman or like somebody that you like and all of that. Now I think it's more of like situationship. People just start being intimate first before even get into the relationship part. Yeah, get into the relationship part. But do you think it's men's fault for women acting like that, expecting too much?
Once upon a time, it wasn't the man's fault. Now we live in a day and age where I think all parties are responsible because we have the tools and the understanding for each of us to do better than before. The reason why I said once upon a time it was the man's fault, because it is a man's world. The laws, and it's a fact.
Can you speak into the mic?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so the laws created, be it in the Western world, be it in the Middle East, be it in the diaspora, which is Africa, South America, was created by man. When I say by created by man, I'm talking about the male gender.
Yeah.
So by definition, whoever you are as a person, yes, it is the man's fault, because these laws were created to be an advantage for the man. Now, fast forward to now.
How do you mean
I don't understand that.
Say, okay, so I'll give you an instance. I'm going off just kind of like based on history, basically. So let's say in the States, if we look at the how do you call it? Basically, when we talk about having a bank account, even here in Canada, that was the same thing when we look at the civil code, and why now women don't have are not obligated to change their last name to the husband, was because everything was under, even down to the marriage, was down to the man. The man is the one that owned the properties. Even if the woman worked, she was the one that owned the properties. He was the one that owned the properties. He was the one that had the bank accounts. He was the one that had everything. Be it he was good in life or bad in life, he owned everything. And the woman was nothing, like she was not an individual in society, even if she worked. So that's why when I say that it was catered and designed for the man, I mean, laws in the old CCQ prove that. So l'homme de la maison was...
So you're saying that, women were not like basically known as human beings,
yes.
And how about today? Now it's the
but
opposite.
That's why,
men are just sperm donors.
That's why I changed it. That's what. No, but what I'm trying to say, I reiterate. I was very clear on what I said. I said back then it was the man's fault because the laws were created to be an advantage for men. Even till this day, in certain parts of the world, and we're not going to touch upon that because even the rules even towards men, and also at the same time religion or whatever, it's not pertaining to us. But so based in the Western world, the States and Canada, it has changed in terms of, okay, now both parties are equally responsible in this.
That's why there's a lot of divorce.
But
Yeah.
but there's a lot of divorce, yes. However, again, I'm saying that both parties are responsible. So I'm not saying that just females, I'm saying males as well need to take responsibility. It's a double-edged sword. I feel like it's not black and white. There's always going to be this gray area where it's going to be the woman's fault, where her standards or what she wants are not realistic. But then also you look at the flip side and you're like, well, the man too, their expectations is not the same thing.
Oh, what do you think of like men's expectations are? What do men expect from women? Like we usually expect simple stuff.
Very simple.
We don't ask for too much,
Okay.
right? It's just when you ask a woman what she wants from a man, bro, she could list a
List.
whole lot.
She gonna
Right.
email you what she wants.
But then what's wrong?
You spend the whole day reading
but,
it and
but the thing is,
into the next
book.
day.
but the thing is that also, again, I said that there's a gray area in that. Yes, there's expectations, but okay, let's take something as flowers, for instance. Yes, there are men out there who don't like giving flowers. They really don't care for it. But what's wrong with giving flowers to your partner? It's just called being a decent.
I have a question.
A decent person. The same way, what's wrong with taking your man out for dinner? Has nothing to do with emasculating him. It has nothing to do with that. The female should do that. So sometimes in a relationship, yeah, you may not enjoy doing what you think that, oh, it's a hassle. Why do I have to do it? It's not a big deal. It's just flowers. No, it's called just being a decent human being. Or for the woman, what's wrong with taking the man?
No,
What's
the system made it like that. The system dropped the man all the way to the ground. That's why I said at the beginning, men this age, this era, we are just only sperm donors. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this word.
But when you say the system, what do you mean by the system?
The system that we actually live in today.
But
The
give
system
me
has
an
been
example.
created for women and
But give
kids.
me
Yeah,
an
it's created for
example.
women. When
Okay,
you
give
look
me an
at it.
example.
I live in the
Oh,
system.
no.
You live
No,
in the
give
system.
me. I understand that, but give me an example so that way we can.
Okay,
actually have that.
look at like the family code right now.
Okay.
It caters to women. You know, even in Africa, like, when you're in Africa and, you're talking to our brothers, that was way back before, let's say me, I ended up in the States, right? There's a saying that, in the Western world, women have the power. Even to somebody in Africa that's not living in America knows that. So it caters to women, and we see it every day.
So
Like, I'll give you an example.
Yeah,
An
go on.
example that we see every day
Okay.
on social media, Snapchat, Instagram, the other one there, whatever. TikTok.
Yeah.
You will see a woman hitting a guy, like at the grocery store, pushing the guy. In society, it looks like it's normal. A man is not a human being anymore. A man that doesn't have feelings, you can hit him, it's okay. You can hit a man 10 times, it's okay. The minute or the second this guy will just push the lady, a stranger from nowhere, wait, why? This is what I don't understand.
But you do. Okay, so now we're gonna
the
talk.
power has been given. It's not equal. Men and women are
tell
not
you should
equal.
walk away.
But
It has been given to women.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is true. Okay, so now you're talking about abuse. So when we talk about a woman basically hitting a man, which, by the way, I agree it is wrong. However, the same system that created the law that the same law that was created for men not to do that to women. Look at the foundation of where it started. It started because in the beginning, when women didn't have rights, that was the norm. So when the law was created, it was the courts established the fact that yes, most of the time, most of the statistics, men were the ones that were doing that. Now we have not evolved by it, which, by the way, the legislations were the ones that were created by men. So in turn, in the era that we are in right now, as a society, collectively, we need to go back to that legislation. We cannot all the time say that, blame the woman, be like, well, we live in a world. Well, you know what? That man's world that you guys so much hate, you guys created that legislation. And now it has become the ideology of most of the time men do that. I'm not disagreeing with you.
So I think you're basically blaming men again. for making the world easier for
Well,
women.
it was a man's world. And then when the women's right movement, which by the way, can we just talk about the women's right movement? The women's right movement started to cater white women, middle class white women. So that already and that's why we spoke off camera before we were talking about feminism. The reason why I don't associate myself with that is because originally it was catered to the average middle class white woman. So, and also at the same time, I don't believe in equality necessarily. I believe in equity, which means that me and you, we have the same opportunities to go to school, but there are certain things that may hinder me. There's certain things that may hinder you to attain the same thing. Otherwise, it's just we wouldn't function as a society if everybody was equal. At that point, you're in a
The
communist world.
system made
But
it equal.
the system,
And I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I believe in God. I know we all believe in
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
If God wanted us to be equal, he would have created us equal. He created the man first. I'm not Andrew Tate, but that's the truth.
No,
You know what I
this is
mean?
where I think you're conflating what I'm saying. When I say equality and equity, I'm talking about it's the same definition. I'm talking about what I can do and what I cannot do, and what you can do and what you cannot do. But in the eyes of God, we're both equal. Because ultimately, when we both come into this world, we both have to have the same opportunities to attain what education, or I'm assuming all of us here are Muslims, whether it's to learn the Quran, whether it's to pray, whether it's to get basic needs in society like water and everything, man and woman, regardless of who came first, regardless that Adam came first, we both have that equality to attain that. And that's where equity comes from it. Where the difference changes is certain things in life. For instance, you may be just a genius, and you are a genius in real estate. I don't know nothing about that. So naturally, we're not equal. We don't have the same opportunity. We cannot have the same opportunity. Somebody who's, I don't know, a midwife. And I know this is going to be controversial to the ladies that say that, because they're going to be like, oh, well, the men can do it. If you as a woman, okay, you can give birth and you're a midwife, and nurses, I'm not saying that male nurses cannot be nurses, but somebody who is a midwife, they can handle that. They can handle that pressure of seeing children being born more than a man. So naturally, we're not going to be equal. And the same thing goes to where it becomes equal is that, let's say, for instance, me and you were both real estate agents, right? We're both doing the same quality of work, or I'm doing the same. Where we're not equal is if you do a better job than me, then naturally your pay has to be better. So then we're not equal. But if we're doing the same type of job, then we're equal regardless of gender. So that's where I explain myself when it comes to certain aspects in life. Listen, me as a woman,
Certain aspect of
life, we're not
yes.
equal.
Listen, you're very smart.